Hola, Chile. I'm Harlan Pelanquist from the Hives. You're listening to Radio Sonar. Yeah, but we were also so unsuccessful in making a Polish sounding record. I mean, it kind of came across more punk almost than the last record, or like, similar amounts or whatever. But we really did try to make something Polish. But at the end of it, everyone, even the record company, agreed that the rough mixes sounded better. So we kind of used them. So this has the record's barely been mixed. Like, this is what it sounded like when we were done recording it, and that's, I think, why it's perceived as so raw. But the original intention was to make like a slick blockbuster, but maybe we can't do that. But I mean, I'm happy that it's my favorite record we've ever done, and I'm not going to worry too much about that. But that was, yeah, I guess something we failed a little bit at. Well, I think what we wanted to do was make, I mean, I guess we can, in a way, we do that every time. But for the last record, the Death of Randy Fitzsimmons, we wanted to make kind of a really kind of intense, angry punk comeback. And on this one, we were trying to kind of make an arena Hives record, like a really big, polished sounding thing. But at the end of the day, we ended up using the rough mixes, which makes it sound like way more of a punk record than it kind of was intentionally from the beginning. But the songs, yeah, I guess we just tried to make songs that people like. I mean, that we would like and people would like, where it's like, oh, here comes the chorus, and it actually does. As opposed to like confusing the crowd, which we've done in parts of the time. And it was really fun to do that, to just kind of like try to do shit that works in a kind of almost like a pop structure, even though it's like an intense rock or punk song. It was fun to try that. Well, I think the main thing is you got to have everything happen at the time when the crowd wants it to happen. So I guess it meant that having kind of clear choruses and everything going kind of verse, chorus, verse in a dependable way. And then you got to do that without being boring. Whereas usually we would have probably just confused the listener a bit more. But yeah, we want to do the straightest trip from A to B to success, I think. Well, and I guess also you got to play a little bit slower than we usually do, which we managed to do on most of the songs, but not all of them, because we like playing fast. Yeah, it's like definitely a sports car. It's weird. Like the Hives is kind of like a Ferrari. It feels weird to go slow in it. I think you just have to demand attention all the time and be not entertaining enough all the time. That being said, there's still people who film us during the show, and we've kind of given up on stopping it. But it does, I agree that it does ruin something about the show. So I usually tell people that, film a little bit now and then put your phone away for the rest of the show. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, I think you just have to be really distracting all the time, to do shit all the time on stage so that people can't look away. That's my only tip. I mean, of course, if I go to see someone mumbling into a microphone with an acoustic guitar, I mean, I'm going to know what that looks like after a few minutes. And he's sitting on a chair, that's, I might as well film it. But if it's the Hives, you start dropping things and losing your phone, and it's a way more volatile situation. A bit of both, I think. I think we really want to keep that title. We really have a high bar set for ourselves, where we're not happy if it's not as good as we want it to be. So yeah, we really do try, but also, I mean, yeah, it just kind of is good at this point. Like even if we're not 100%, it's still, other bands 100% maybe. I just we can't do anything else but give it everything we got every time. It's exhausting, but it's worth it, I think. We play a lot of the new records. Like, I mean, the way to not, I mean, if you're like, most bands that have been together for as long as we have kind of just play one song from the new album, and then they play like old hits or whatever. But we stubbornly push in at least half of every new record we make into the set. So I think that's one thing. Just got to play a lot of new songs. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a hard question to answer because there's parts of everything in it. Like there's parts of rock and roll that are very much just, you know, a throwback to what, you know, the heyday or whatever, like a nostalgic thing, which I guess is true for anything that's been around for a long time. Somehow electronic music gets a pass, but that's also kind of just looping and informed by itself, and like it still sounds like Kraftwerk to me, basically, a lot of it. And rock and roll, in a way, you know, still sounds like the early rock and roll. I mean, I have a different definition of rock and roll, I think, than most other people. Like a lot of the stuff that's played on like rock radio, I don't think of that as rock and roll necessarily. Like my version of rock and roll, I guess, is more like kind of 50s, 60s rock and roll and punk. But if you do it if you breathe enough energy into that, it doesn't feel retro, I think. It's hard to do, but you gotta, I mean, it can still feel modern if you do it well enough, or if you try hard enough. Like, it's like also like people think hip hop is like constantly modern, but that's also like they're influenced by stuff that happened 20, 30 years ago as well. And sounds pretty similar to that. So, I mean, rock and roll to me is a style of music, but it's also a feeling that I can hear in other types of music sometimes. Sometimes a hip hop beat can feel like rock and roll to me. Sometimes, I don't know, even like a classical piece can feel like rock and roll. Anything that makes my blood boil and makes me excited and want to lose my mind. I call it rock and roll. Pretty much. The greater cultural landscape, that's so fragmented now. Like, it used to be so important that you belong to a tribe, I think. And I think kind of our generation stopped doing that a little bit. Like even people 5 years older than me would be really like, you either like Motley Crue or Depeche Mode or whatever it was. Like it was very clearly defined what group music was all about, belonging to a certain group. And I think we kind of killed that, even though our thing was very much like we were in the punk rock and roll thing, but we were listening to country and pop music on the tour bus, you know, like every band does. So I don't think like it's necessary. And nowadays, with the way people consume music through social media and all that stuff, like everything's so fragmented that everyone is listening to everything. Everybody's playlist is like classical music, hip hop, and punk. It's not that rare anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think that's healthy, you know. Although it was really fun to be part of a gang, which I think is maybe missing a little bit today, where you like listen to everything. But it's a richer life, so it's probably worth it.